Ladies and gentlemen, Aderrien Murray, who you're seeing, the 11-year-old that was shot by a reckless Mississippi cop, he did an interview on CNN. I do have the clip from the interview that I'm going to let you see, but he said he's having nightmares. This child is not sleeping like he should. How is he ever going to get past this? This is something he will always remember throughout the rest of his life. And how do you rebuild a trust that was never there in the first place with police officers? Because I was hearing some, well, he's going to have to rebuild trust. No, he really doesn't. You know, Many of us do not trust the police. And I wouldn't blame him one bit, especially you're the one that called the cops and you end up getting shot, you know? And just the whole thing is so upsetting. But I'm going to let you listen to what he had to say about what his nights are like now since being shot. And yes, the cop needs to be terminated and he needs to be jailed for what he did. That's one thing. We're not on no video defending black cops because they're a cop and they were just doing their job. We ain't if we see wickedness in a cop or in their actions, you ain't gonna see a bunch of us going on any video to defend anything like some of them folks do. They don't have no problem defending these old unruly behind cops out here acting more criminal than the people they're apprehending. See, they don't have no problem doing that. You're not going to catch any of us defending these cops, especially this particular cop that shot this 11-year-old. You won't see nary video, just like you didn't see one video of anybody in our community defending what they did to Tyree Nichols. You're not going to find any of us backing those cops up. So I'm going to let you listen to what he had to say, and I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
Aderrien is remarkably in good spirits for what he went through, but he does tell me when he's alone in his room at night, the weight of what he went through does hit him.
Sometimes I can see myself laying inside the coffin. Them are my thoughts at night, my only ones. I sometimes think people are watching me, but my main thought is me dead.
He said he was so convinced that he was going to die that day that he started to tell his mother his last words, telling her to say sorry to the family members who he acted up in front of, telling him to say sorry to the teacher that he was bad towards. The mother said that she is so overfilled with joy that she really doesn't have enough time to be angry, even towards the police officer, Sergeant Greg Capers with the Indianola Police Department. She doesn't even have to be time to be angry at him, she says. She does, though, want him fired and never to work as a police officer in this country again. We're standing in front of their attorney's office because just in a few minutes, they're going to announce a federal lawsuit that they've filed seeking $5 million in damages from the city as well as the local police department. This is still under investigation. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is handling this. They have body camera that they have not yet released of this incident. Meanwhile, Brianna, very quickly, we have reached out to Sergeant Greg Capers repeatedly, but he has not gotten back to us. Brianna?
Yeah, maybe that body camera will reveal how this could happen. I think that is what is on everyone's mind as we see this traumatized little boy. Nick, thank you for bringing that to us. Jim?
All right, let's discuss more what happens next in this case. The Murray's family attorney, Carlos Moore, joining us now. And Carlos, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first, when I hear that little boy, 11 years old, struggling a little bit as he continues to recover, just feel so much for him. You could see how much he's been through here. Can you tell us how he's doing?
Yeah, he has been through more than any 11-year-old boy should ever go through, especially
Yeah.
during the summertime when he should be vacationing from a hard work years of work um, at school. But he's struggling. He is trying to stay in good spirits. He's trying to comfort his mother because she feels that it's her fault. But he's a remarkable young man. Still has some pain in his side. Still struggles to breathe. But he's blessed to be alive, and he gives all praise to God.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm glad he was well enough to even do an interview with CNN, but I'm sorry to hear about the pain he's in, the trouble he's having with breathing, and of course he would have trouble. He had a collapsed lung. So, yes, he's gonna have trouble breathing and just doing some pretty mundane things that he normally would be able to do, but it broke my heart to hear him saying he could see himself in a coffin. You know, that had to go through not only his mind, but his mother, and you heard what they said his mother said he was apologizing for being a trouble, to family members in school. He was sorry, and oh, that's sad. You know, None of this should have happened. All of this behind some reckless behind police officer. How you going to tell people to come out of the house, and then when people start coming to the living room so they could walk out of the house, you gonna just open fire on them. This is the kind of idiot policing that's been acceptable in America all this time. This is acceptable. But I'm glad they got a lawyer. I'm glad they lawyered up because this cop by the name of Greg Capers, he needs to go to jail. And I hope they don't let up until he is behind bars. Now, they're saying that the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is involved with this whole thing. And, of course, the case is under investigation. They said he had to have a chest tube. He was placed on a ventilator. His lungs were collapsed. His ribs were cracked. He has a lacerated liver. This is all according to his mother. Um, he didn't get released from the hospital um, until Wednesday, which is, my goodness. I'm just, so much is going through my head about this child could have easily have been taken out. So the attorney they hired that you see in the picture with him, his name is Carlos Moore, and he is representing Aderrien and his mother, Nakala Murray. And and there were other children in the house. It's no telling how many could have gotten hurt behind this reckless behind officer. So Darian said, before he called the police for aid, he actually trusted the police. And I think that's where we need to talk to our children about the reality of policing in America, and not be so trusting because, as you can see, that cop was not there for that family. You don't do that to people that you are really therefore, and you're trying to protect, shooting into a house, when the call came from there is just reckless to me. So anyway, they filed a lawsuit for $5 million, claiming excessive force, negligence, reckless endangerment, civil assault, and battery, among other counts. And it should be something in there as far as, force against a child, endangering a child. Shoot, you definitely don't want to leave that off. So, I'm glad they're moving forward and I hope this thing gets resolved. It would be in the best interest of that police department to resolve this one very quickly. because it just looks bad for a cop to show up on the scene when a child called because this woman's, I guess this was her ex-boyfriend, and the father of one of her children shows up all angry at 4 a.m. Yeah, and he did what he could. He did what he felt was right, and it almost ended his life. And it should not be that way for anybody that calls the police. But in America, because policing is so rogue and out of hand, these things happen. And they are satisfied. See, that's why the policing has never changed in this country, because even with this incident, they are satisfied with the way the police conduct themselves, especially with the Black community. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.